Uniform, they risk their lives for us, and sadly they don't always get the recognition they deserve. Not just our soldiers, but the foreign interpreters who help them do their job.
The Kokoda track, Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan. Wherever Aussies enter the battlefield, they do so with the help of local allies.
Having a native interpreter contributing to the force is actually really significant. They are completely lifesavers.
The bond formed in battle is intense. In 2008, trooper Mark Donaldson received a Victoria Cross, our highest award for bravery, after risking his life to save a wounded Afghan interpreter.
We had an RPG explode just above one of the vehicles in front of us, and two of the guys got blown out of it. One of them was the interpreter. I started to drag him, and then I picked him up and got him back to the vehicles.
And the loyalty goes both ways. Retired Captain Jason Skanes says that during his tour of Afghanistan in 2012, his interpreter and friend, who we're calling Hassan, saved his life.
I don't want to go into detail with those incidents at this stage, but it's fair to say that his presence was absolutely critical to me getting home.
Since 2012, we've offered resettlement visas to Afghans like Hassan.
Australia regards itself as having a moral obligation to those Afghans who have made a contribution, who may be at risk into the future.
But despite making himself and his family a target for the Taliban with his heroism, Jason says Hassan's visa application was refused. When we asked about the case, the Minister for Immigration and Border Protection's office sent us a general statement saying
the Australian government has put in place rigorous health, character and security checks prior to arrival in Australia under our humanitarian program.
There's no question that there's real dangers of leaving people behind, particularly when the conflict's not finished. People's families can be harassed, blackmailed, even killed.
So after 5 years spent fighting the bureaucracy on behalf of his mate, Jason's decided enough is enough. He's vowed to keep daily vigil outside Immigration Minister Peter Dutton's electorate office until he gets answers.
It's a bond that we form with those interpreters, and their support in our mission is absolutely critical. We don't want to leave our mates behind.
And Captain Skanes joins us from outside Mr Dutton's office, where he's just completed the third day of his vigil at the front of that office. Jason, your mate has served this country. He's clearly in danger. We can't even use his real name. Do you know why his visa application was rejected?
Yeah, look, his visa application is quite complex. Most interpreters there, their English isn't the best. He was asked had he committed any acts of violence against coalition forces, and his response was no, not yet. And when they asked for clarification as to what did you mean by that, he said, no, I don't do that. And reading that in black and white is quite, obviously, it sort of shows an intent, no, not yet, whereas taking into context the language barrier can be quite difficult.
Jason, it's hard for us civilians to fully understand a bond that is formed in battle. Can you talk us through a little bit about your relationship and that bond that you have with Hassan?
You need to have one that is of absolute trust. Your interpreter is your lifeline. They're with you every single day, everywhere you go. They gauge the environment, they gauge people, and they gauge the atmospherics on the ground. So they're quite important for our mission in Afghanistan.
We obviously talk a lot about mateship on Anzac Day in this country. What can you tell us about the mateship that you and Hassan share?
We are great mates. I keep in regular contact with him. We share many things in common. It really would mean the absolute world to me. I know to my family as well, to have the opportunity to see Hassan and his young family. He has a little boy now, and I don't think it's unrealistic to think that people, regardless of race, gender, colour or creed or anything or religion, could want something better for their country, for their family.
Jason, of course, Anzac Day is next week, where we commemorate those who have fought and also those who fought alongside Australians. Are you hoping that some of the Anzac spirit will fester through to Peter Dutton's office?
I had a good discussion late this morning with Tom Fleming, the Minister's senior advisor, and I'm confident moving forward that we'll be able to have further discussions around the unique circumstances, and I think that Anzac spirit of mateship is well and alive.
Well, Peter Dutton has given us a statement. If you want to see the full statement from his office, you can find it on our website. In the meantime, would you please thank Captain Jason Skanes?
Thank you very much.